Hey everyone, welcome back. This week I have the perfect plant-based summer meal that you can grill at home or wherever you may be in the world, if you're at a park or just chilling by yourself. So we're predominantly going to be using processed foods. We're going to use Impossible meat. We're going to use some, I think it's Beyond sausages and Italian sausage. But because it is July 4th, I'm filming this on July 4th, I thought I really enjoy the recipe I make for my Impossible ground beef patties that I make for my homemade burgers. So I'm going to share that recipe with you in addition to a simple corn recipe and some charred asparagus with the burgers. And the dogs, sausages, whatever you want to call them. So let's get to it. The first step is to buy some Beyond sausages. So George and I really enjoy the Italian sausages, which are spicy, and he likes the bratwurst. So it is the 4th of July after all. I got 2 packets of the light Impossible meat in addition to a pack of sweet corn. You can buy it shucked or you can buy it totally whole. Lastly, I got some fresh asparagus that I had sitting in the fridge that I was going to bake in the oven. To a large or medium stock pot, add a bunch of water because we will be really simply boiling the corn in order to have it be really nice and sweet and supple. This is super simple. You just want to add your corn to the water and boil for about 15 minutes, and that's basically it. The water is super nice. You can make some really nice corn broth if you want to reserve that lovely liquid and make a corn chowder. Boil those bad boys for 10 to 12 minutes. I've done it for 15 to 20 minutes too. It's really not a big deal. I don't really know if you can overboil corn. While we get started on the brats, I added a bit of parchment paper to a baking tray and I baked them in the oven too. I wanted to go for simplicity for the 4th of July, so I added my Italian sausages on one side and my bratwurst on the other side. If you have access to a grill, this is the best way to do them. You can also cook these on the stovetop in a couple minutes. So I added these sausages to a preheated oven at 450 Fahrenheit and I cooked them for 20 minutes. Be sure to keep a close look on your sausages, as sometimes they do tend to overcook or you will have them burn a little bit. You don't want that to happen or else you're going to have your fire alarm going off in your apartment or in your home. For the asparagus, I like to gently take off the bottom section of the asparagus, which comes off naturally, and I rinse it in some cold water to clean any debris or dirt that may be lingering on the asparagus. Very simply, I add my asparagus to another baking tray on top of a baking mat or some parchment paper, whatever you prefer, and you can chuck these in the oven just as is. But I chose to season them just a little bit with some very light seasoning. I added a teaspoon's worth of high quality olive oil, and I added a little bit of black pepper and lemon juice. You can add salt and garlic powder, but I really didn't add too much salt in reality. So I kept it super simple, especially because I wanted to kind of keep everything low key for the 4th of July. But this meal works all summer long and you'll enjoy it. Bake these in the same oven as your sausages at 450 or 425 Fahrenheit for 15 to 17 minutes. Lastly, for our Impossible beef, I first started by taking 3 tablespoons of fresh cilantro and mincing everything up until it created 3 tablespoons worth. So you'll probably end up cutting about a large handful of fresh cilantro and mince it up finely, as we're going to add this to the burgers. Because I like to make my burgers extra healthy, I also like to chop up some fresh spinach into them. I take 2 cups of fresh spinach and mince the spinach very finely, so it's got a really nice sort of health kick to a slightly processed meal. One of the best burgers I had was actually in Tucson at a really nice burger place, and they did this. They also added mushrooms, and so since that burger, I always add spinach to my Impossible Meat. Take your 2 packets of Impossible Meat out of the packaging, add them to a large to medium sized mixing bowl, and because it is the 4th of July in this video and because it's summer, I added a 4th cup of vegan mozzarella of choice. This is the new Daiya brand that released a revamped recipe for their cheese, as well as a 4th cup of vegan cheddar, also Daiya. I added my spinach and cilantro into the mix, and also added 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed to replace eggs, but also really for a little bit of that health kick. I add 2 teaspoons of ground garlic and a pinch of black pepper, and that's it. I don't typically add salt to my Impossible beef because it already has salt in it, but if you'd like to, you can definitely feel free to add more seasonings as you go. With a spoon or with your hands, you want to combine everything until it is thoroughly mixed and homogeneous. Form these into patties and set them aside. I like to form them into medium-sized patties, but you can do large ones if you want to as well. I took the asparagus out of the oven and I had George cook up the burgers on a large griddle pan, cooking them for 8 to 10 minutes on each side until golden brown and completely cooked. My corn was ready to go. I released the water, and my bratwurst was also ready in due time. They will release quite a bit of liquid, so this is completely normal, as a lot of the oil that's within the sausages, like even regular sausages, will come out of the link once it's being cooked. The burgers came out super delicious. It's one of my favorite recipes that I enjoy making in the summer months, or really whenever I'm craving kind of a processed burger at home. They work marvelously, and that was my simple summer vegan cookout for the 4th of July that you can do really at any time. Now, here comes the real kicker. I wanted to lettuce wrap these burgers. I chose to do a veggie black bean burger that I had in the freezer, which was also a YouTube video that I'll link in the description. But I took 2 to 3 really large iceberg lettuce leaves. I added some Roma tomato at the bottom in addition to some red onions. I love pickles, so I also added a generous amount of pickles to this lettuce wrapped burger. I like to add the vegetables at the bottom and add the patty right on top. I also made a delicious homemade vegan mayo, which is made from silken tofu and a little bit of olive oil in addition to seasonings, and I added that on top in addition to the very classic burger additions such as ketchup and mustard. Feel free to add whatever you want. This burger also works beautifully with some fresh guacamole. Once you've added all of your toppings, I like to then crunch it up with an extra lettuce leaf just to make sure it stays put and it stays wrapped. And that's basically it. This is one of my favorite healthier things to do during the summer. It's really light, it's really flavorful, and it's a perfect summer cookout to enjoy all summer long. If you guys like this recipe, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more, and let me know in the comments what you think or any other ideas you have in mind. I release recipes every single Friday and post daily shorts. I hope you have a good one and take good care.